It's not obvious, my friends think I'll call it saying I end up falling for you.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Ramen Rants. It's been a while since I've just come and talked to you guys. I'm in a new place now if you watched the last vlog. Not to brag or anything, but this ramen looks so good. I really did the most for it. Egg, oh my god. Ooh, I have an egg in here, and I have some bok choy. These weird like little, cheesy rice paper wrap things that I saw on Instagram Reels. I'm gonna take the first bites. I'm kind of, okay, I know I haven't like actually talked at all because I'm kind of hungry, but I am very interested to see how this tastes. That's pretty good. So today I wanted to talk to you about the Laidlaw Leadership and Research Program. It's basically like an internship slash scholarship. So it's a really, really great opportunity, and it's only for first years. If you're a first year and you want to look into getting some kind of research opportunities, I really highly recommend applying to this. How I found out about this program was actually my history professors spoke about it in front of our really large lecture with all the students, and I was like, okay, like I need an internship this summer. The yolk's still a little bit gooey. I'll give you the basic rundown of this program. It's 6 weeks during the summer, plus you have leadership training days during the summer and during term. Essentially, for the first summer, you're going to be helping a UCL professor with their research, and then the second summer, you're going to have some kind of leadership-based project, stuff like going to Fiji to help the environment, or you can self-propose your own project. You don't have to choose something on the list that is relevant to your degree, but that's what most people did. Because I do history, I went through the history options and found this really cool project called Medieval Magic in 50 Objects. This project takes a look at medieval objects that have like magical significance. My professor's long-term output is going to be a book that she writes about all 50 of these objects. I thought this sounded really cool. I'm interested in medieval history, and also how cool is it that you're learning about magic? I honestly didn't even know that this discipline existed. It turns out that there's so much written about it. It really shocked me because this is something I never thought of, but it's such an interesting facet of history that is actually a really great look into how people back then thought and what they believed in. The application process was 2 parts. It had the written part where I had to write about why I was interested in this project, why I thought I would be a good fit, and then you also have to write about your leadership qualities. In high school, I was part of a lot of committees of clubs, 50% like academic, 50% about leadership. And then the second part is going to be an interview. That part was stressful because it's like one of those ones where you have to like record yourself talking, like you're not actually talking to someone. I really thought it was such a long shot for me getting this. I think they said it was about maybe 250 applicants and only like 23 spots. Well, actually, is that competitive? I don't really know. It felt competitive though. I was just trying to try, right? I didn't really have like high hopes. I spent a lot of time reading over my interview answers and my application answers to make sure it was really perfect before I sent it in. I remember the application deadline is in January because I was supposed to start working on the application over Christmas, but then I never did. I got the email that I got an interview, and then after that I got an email that I was accepted. That was such a happy moment, honestly. Then the real work began. So you start off with a leadership and training weekend, I think 9 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday. You're going to be there with all the other scholars, so there's about 23 of us. I didn't know what to think because it's kind of, you know, new social situation. Kind of felt like going to summer camp. I wasn't really sure what leadership training entailed, but it ended up being a really fun weekend because you're in this space spending time with all these other people who are very driven and really interested in what they're studying, and our leadership mentors were just very kind and supportive, and it was just a really great little bubble to be in for the weekend and to just really be introduced to the program. We did some fun little, you know, leadership training stuff, models of how to lead or the different aspects of it, but there's just so much more to learn about how to be more effective as a leader and just as a person having to work with other people, or not having to. It is fun to work with other people. And also it was nice because for the 6 weeks, we were going to be pretty much based in London by ourselves. Everyone else in uni is pretty much gone. This kind of gave us a support and social network during the summer as well. During the leadership and training, you're also assigned a buddy, one other person in the cohort. This person is supposed to kind of like check up on you, ask you how you're doing throughout the process, and I felt like that was actually really cute. Thing is that everyone in this cohort is so nice. Everyone gets along very well, and we all have, you know, our little WhatsApp group chat. It's definitely opposite opposite of what I think one might expect, because you're kind of getting all these type A people together. In theory, it wasn't a competitive or toxic environment at all. We're all doing fairly different disciplines as well. It was nice just to be able to listen to other people talk about their project, because I know nothing about biochemistry. I know nothing about, well, technology, but basically I just do history, so I don't know higher level education for any of these other topics, and it was interesting just to listen to them talk. We ended the leadership and training experience with a nice dinner. Then you gotta fast forward a couple months past third term exams and everything, and you reach the summer period. The Laidlaw Scholarship typically starts on June 13th, that's when I started. The thing about this scholarship is that it is very, very dependent on you and your supervisor. While Laidlaw is like the overarching program that you're doing, your day-to-day and your week-to-week is going to be between you and your supervisor, what you guys feel like you can accomplish and what your own goals are. I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but you get £3,000 each summer, so there's 2 summers, but you kind of offset your living costs, having to stay in London, food, you know, not being able to work during this time, because Laidlaw is supposed to be your main priority. So in order to have like a productive time with your Laidlaw scholarship, I think that communication with your supervisor is really a key point. You're helping them with their research, right? You are their little intern for the summer, little first year intern for the summer. I really stress having communication, and it can be hard because UCL professors are very busy. I felt very fortunate that my professor always responded so quickly and was always so willing to give me advice on what I should do. But I know some professors, it was kind of hard to contact them because maybe they were abroad doing research at the time, or you know, they were really busy with conferences. Developing a relationship with your supervisor so you understand what's going on and you know what you're doing is important. I didn't know anything about this topic, so I had to do some readings and kind of just wrap my head around the entire thing. And this is kind of where it hits you that, oh yeah, these are UCL professors. You know, while I'm doing these readings, it's just like, oh, my professor wrote this book, or my professor wrote this article. You're like, wow, I'm actually working underneath one of the leading experts in this field, and that's kind of crazy. But after I had done this, I had a meeting with my professor about kind of the objects that I wanted to specifically focus on, because at the beginning I was like, okay, I'll do 50 objects, and now at the end of this project I've done 1, because research takes a long time. I'd say my workload really varied over the course of this project. Right now, because I'm actually not finished with the project, I still have about a week or 2 left. So the time period that I was focusing on was specifically late medieval objects, so about 1250 to 1500. And I made up a list of crystal balls that was relatively around this time period, give or take, you know, a couple hundred years as it is. And then I started researching the wolf tooth ring. My research mainly centered around the materials that it was made out of, the design of the ring, and the inscriptions on the ring. Because the list of 50 objects isn't completely concrete and finalized yet, I was making kind of other lists, so many lists involved. I was making kind of other lists of things that could possibly be relevant. Crystal balls in the beginning, now it's about concealed clothing. This actually gave me a really great opportunity to reach out to some other historians in the ritual deposit concealed clothing medieval community. It's so cool because they're all so lovely and so interested in helping and learning more about your research. They're all like, give us an update when you're done. And I'm just like, my work's really not that. It's not, like, I don't know what there's to update about, but thank you so much anyways. And it kind of just reiterates how history really is such a collaborative effort. Next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to visit some sites in the UK. There actually is a Laidlaw budget for each scholar, about £600 during your project, to cover travel expenses or pretty much any expenses that might be related to your project outside of the £3,000 that you already get. I'm visiting locations within the UK that I can easily get to by train. You know, bring my camera and photograph some of the deposit locations and some of the clothing that is in museums. I think some of the things I struggled with in this project was that I didn't have a very strong background in medieval history. I really wanted to be helpful, I really wanted to be productive, and sometimes I felt like there were days where I was going through readings that weren't that helpful. My professor though was really, really nice, and she gave me lots of recommendations of books and articles to look at. I think also I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, as you do. There were times where I was thinking, oh, like would there have been another applicant that was better suited for this position? Am I even good enough? Am I even smart enough to write about this? I don't really know what's going on. Stuff like that. Just these little thoughts that kind of, you know, like to nag at you. Getting feedback was something that I had to relearn how to do. I used to write a lot. That's so sad that I say used to, but I used to write quite a bit. I was in the school literary magazine and the English Honor Society, whatever. Basically, I am used to getting feedback, and the thing is, I actually do love feedback because I love hearing people's opinions, but I realized that one of the reasons why I've always loved getting feedback is because it's always been fairly positive feedback in school, academically. This was a time where the feedback, it wasn't necessarily negative. There were times where it was kind of like, oh, you're kind of looking into the wrong thing, or maybe your point here doesn't really make sense, or stuff like that. And I kind of had to take a step back because when I first read these things, I was like, oh my god, like, I'm so stupid, like, I can't believe I actually wrote that, stuff like this. The thing is, you're a first year, you're a little baby still, okay? Research is, you know, like, it can go in a million different directions, and you know, your supervisor's gotta kind of hone you in, you know, kind of hone you into one thing. Once I was able to separate the feedback that I received from my own intelligence, my own ego, I suppose, and I wasn't stressed out about getting poor feedback. Instead, okay, I'm getting this feedback, how can I use this to further the research that I'm doing? The social side of laidlaw, I talked about the cohorts and the leadership meetings in the beginning. During the summer, we went to do mini golf, picnic, pizza parties, that kind of stuff. We also had some scholars from Hong Kong come in. I was one of the people that applied to be part of the committee. I am on the Laidlaw Society committee. Maybe this video is just promo to get you guys to apply. I mean, it kind of is, but also an actually really genuinely cool opportunity. I just remembered I have a Laidlaw hoodie and I need to show you. Boom. This is how you know I am legit. I'm fast, I'm good, I'm ambitious, you know? All the adjectives that you need to be a Laidlaw scholar. I've been rambling, so I'm just gonna come off with some finishing points. Okay, some last minute things that maybe I forgot to mention earlier. You can do a self-proposed research project. My advice for you guys who want to apply is check the UCL Laidlaw website because there is a little page dedicated to that sometime in the fall. And they're going to update all these new projects for the 2023 cohort. I really can't recommend this internship enough. Laidlaw isn't just specific to UCL. They actually work in collaboration with a bunch of other really high-ranking universities. And a bit of a UCL shameless plug here. We have so many really amazing resources. Our libraries, also our labs, because I know a lot of like the STEM kids go in 9 to 5, work in the lab. Because UCL is such like a really big and cool research institute, it really translates to the fact that us little first years have an opportunity to do research. Well, I have finished my ramen. I really encourage anyone who's a first year to apply. Just remember it is 2 years, and I think it actually has really impacted my UCL experience. I'm really thankful that my professors recommended this because I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. And I know a lot of other people that are in the Laidlaw program that said they just found it by chance. So this is your chance. This is the chance happening for you to apply. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
'Cause I knew it's true from the first time.